English, American, Indian, Hawaiian dot ancestry. A large man, about 6'2", extremely muscular, over 230 pounds. He was friendly, well liked, and he was proud. He was a man of nature and of the earth, a farmer and a hunter, a patriotic man. He believed in America and was one of the legions of young men who volunteered to join General Blackjack Pershing, AEF, the American Expeditionary Forces in 1917, which was subsequently shipped off to France to fight in World War I. They called it the war to end all wars. One of the many faceless American doughboys quickly hurled into battle, there to face the countless and well-trained German Huns at the vicious and historically significant 20-day battle of Belleau Wood in a faraway place called France. Originally, having been given a chance to surrender prior to the battle by the Germans, and thereby avoiding the carnage and bloodshed of that upcoming battle, an American 2nd Division captain bravely replied, "Surrender? Hell, we just got here. We've yet to begin to fight." And fight they did. They took the offensive positions 6 separate times. Bitter fighting ensued, often face to face, hand to hand, bayonets, knives, empty rifles, 45 caliber pistols, all were used as clubs. And finally, their bare fists. Anything and everything that could be used to maim or kill the enemy. It was sought out and utilized by both sides. 20 days of carnage and bone-breaking, flesh-tearing, lung-bursting, bloody combat. And then the most extensive use of mustard gas utilized during World War I. Again, might I remind you, this was supposed to be remembered by all mankind as the war to end all war. Within those 20 horrendous days of hellish warfare, the American Expeditionary Forces suffered 9,777 young men wounded or hospitalized. 1,811 doughboys who were the pride of American youth were killed. And yes, this specific young American private also died during that major American victory known as the Battle of Belleau Wood in 1918, in that miserable cesspool in a faraway place called France. He was a proud young English American Indian from Ohio. He was only 19 years old when he fell in that dark, muddy hellhole. A young boy. No, he was a man, fighting for his country and what he believed was right. His mother notified by messenger of the death of her only son. It had said he had fallen on a faraway muddy battlefield in France. Of course, she experienced the overwhelming grief and pain that only a loving mother could feel. A mother who had just lost her lovely boy, her only son. She collapsed. Then, while still grieving, she had been forced to bury an American flag, a flag draped empty box. The somber notes of taps silently echoing throughout the granite stone park of eternal rest. The sharp crack of a 3-gunshot volley was fired out of respect for this oh so young American warrior. Over the next few years, his younger sisters assumed the role of dirt farmers, and the lives of this fatherless, brotherless family once again was able to return to some semblance of their former normalcy. Yeah, he was born on a dark and stormy Ohio night in 1926. He was large, but quite frail for his size. Doctors even questioned his ability to survive. Suddenly, above the din of the pounding rain, an unstable knock on the farmhouse door. It was heard and responded. An elderly lady looked out the window. A sudden bolt of lightning illuminates the dark, eerie morning sky. She screams and faints, and once again she collapsed on the farmhouse floor. Was it a ghost that had just appeared in front of her? Oh my God, had she just seen an apparition of her long dead, handsome young son? It couldn't be. This young man was wearing a military style hat and a trench coat to ward off the strong wind and the pelting rain. No, it couldn't be. She had buried his token remains years ago. It had to be an apparition. Her mind must be playing games with her. A few soft, stuttering words were uttered. Hi, Mom, before she once again lost consciousness. No, it was not a ghost. And no, it was not an apparition. And yes, it was her long dead young son, somehow risen from the dead. He was gone, extremely emaciated, but he was alive. And he was standing there in front of her. He had the look of a walking dead man, a mere 135-pound skeleton of his former muscular self. But he was home. He was alive. He had arisen from the grave. He had spent all of these torturous years in a French hospital with amnesia, a residual victim of a criminal negligent mustard gas attack. He was left for dead amongst all the other fallen comrades. Their shattered dead remains left on that ungodly battlefield. One day, in a still yet unexplained medical mystery, he had suddenly awakened from a 7-year nightmare, that hellish coma where he was no one except a lump of humanity slowly wasting away, an unknown entity from an unknown place with an unknown family. On that final day, he seemed to remember some form of mild dizziness and bells ringing in his ears. Then it was like he could see himself. He was walking out of a fog and suddenly felt a refreshing mist bathe his face. Finally, the sun appeared to be trying to penetrate his eyelids. His eyes snapped open, his mind unexplainably cleared up. He remembered his name. He remembered where he was from. He even remembered his mother. Yeah, he was born on that dark and rainy windswept Ohio night. An almost orchestrated bright flash of light, followed by a loud crescendo of thunder, unceremoniously announced his arrival, his rebirth. Yes, he was born in 1926. But now he was 27 years old, and he was home. We call it the picture never taken. Now, the question, my friend, how many of you have wished you had been able to take that one special picture? But, oh my God, that's it, the perfect shot. And then suddenly you remember that film you should have bought. Well, my friends, can you tell me why, when your family is ready, you always feel like hell? Another picture not taken, to be stared deep away in your mind. A place where an imaginary file is all that you will find. And yes, you can see it when you close your eyes, but family and friends never will. And that ain't no lie. Hey, you over there, can't figure out what I'm trying to say? Well, why don't I just tell you about a particular day? But first of all, and not to be terse, I think I'll change style, more like a story and less like verse. This specific night, I remember holding my 2-year-old daughter close to me in one arm. I then asked my wife to put our 5-month-old daughter in my other arm. This is the vision that is still so clear to me, even after these many past years. This is the pride and pleasure of being a father that I felt as I looked down on their innocent, angelic faces, beautiful cherubs, and I was their protector, their proud, loving father. I was especially happy because, due to an injury, this was the first time that I have been able to hold both of my beautiful babies together in my arms. It was then that I remember asking my young wife to get our camera and to take some pictures of it. I wanted a forever record of this specific, very special night. Embarrassed, she replied that earlier in the week, she had forgotten to pick up film, but would buy some the following day. Then tomorrow night, we could all have fun taking pictures with Yvonne Marie and Tony Lynn. I was truly excited about that idea, taking that one perfect picture with my 2 lovely little girls. However, my friends, I regret to say, for some long forgotten reason, that magical evening with my daughter and those anticipated captivating pictures never did take place. You blink an eye, and time has passed, just disappeared. It vanished, it was gone. A clap of thunder, a bolt of lightning, an entire day explodes into a void of nothingness. Where had the past 4 weeks gone? Just disappeared. They were up, they were gone, like a wisp of smoke. And the breath of life of one of my beautiful, darling daughters had been mysteriously taken away. Her time on earth abruptly ended, stopped like a final grain of sand sliding through an hourglass. An eerie presence now pervaded the air, and a strange peacefulness enveloped the room. The calmness was powerful, almost overwhelming. A tiny little angel scurries around, gathering up all the unused breaths of life, and is then quickly transported away on a beautiful fluffy cloud back up into the heavens. A children's choir sings a soulful litany of hymns that announce the arrival of another innocent child as she crosses the threshold and enters into the children's eternal garden of love and charity. Yes, dear readers, my youngest little angel, Tony Lynn, only 6 months old, was dead. The newest victim of what the medical community was referring to as something new. They called it sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. Now, for those of you who have stayed and shared my intimate, long ago grief, these are the pictures deeply etched inside my mind's retina. These are those special pictures, never taken, but never lost and never forgotten. Well, folks, I'd like to tell you about someone quite sad that I used to know. His name was Billy. Well, I got it. Billy was a bull. A big young bull was Billy. And Billy the bull was also a bully. A bully was Billy the bull. Now, Billy the bull had been bullied when he was young. And that's how Billy the Bull learned to bully, by being bullied by older and tougher bullies. Bullies who enjoyed bullying Billy the Bull, and not just when he was young. And so, my friends, a warning I will now issue to all future bullies, not just those like Billy the Bull. The warning is also the moral of the story. And indeed, it's quite easy to learn and to follow. If you want to spend a lifetime without benefit of friends or even a spouse, then all you need to do is be exactly like Billy. And man, that ain't no bull.